The enemy said you think you're better than us. I stand at the entrance of the banquet hall gripping my clutch. My heart races, my chest feels like it's weighed down with stone. My brother holds a glass of red wine glaring at me with a smirk. My parents stand aside, their expressions stiff, they don't intervene. Guests freeze, whispering quietly, the hall falls silent. Red wine spills across my wedding dress, staining it bright red. The dessert table is overturned, cake and pastries scattered on the floor. My brother points at me, shouting, his voice echoing through the space. I grit my teeth and take a deep breath to control my emotions. My parents rush to his side, patting his shoulders, comforting him as the victim. My husband stands next to me, stunned, unsure how to react. The guests' eyes fix on me, whispers spreading across the hall. I clench my fists, feeling years of resentment heavy in my chest. In that moment I realize they're supporting the wrong side. I will no longer be silent, I decide not to tolerate it anymore. I grew up in our home in Rochester. My parents ran a small restaurant, barely making ends meet. At 15 I started working to help support the household. Delivering pizzas and waiting tables day and night. Every penny went toward family expenses. My brother was 9 years younger, often praised as the golden child. My achievements were overlooked and unacknowledged. At 16 I worked at a cafe saving for college tuition. My brother got new clothes and extra tutoring. I thought this was my family duty and took it willingly. But the imbalance gradually built pressure inside me. At 17 I took 2 jobs plus tutoring. Applied for every scholarship to cover tuition and living expenses. My brother at 15 still had no responsibilities while parents indulged him. I watched him steal money and my father laughed without punishment. My mother brushed it off, saying he's just a child. These moments were the first cracks I saw. I worked hard to keep the family afloat yet fostered dependence. In college I earned a full scholarship and still sent money home. $200 to $300 a month for my brother's school supplies and rent. At 15 he had no obligations but received all the benefits. I gradually realized my parents' favoritism encouraged his selfishness. After graduation I joined a tech company earning $80,000 a year. I paid my brother's $100,000 tuition, $300 car payments, $500 in rent each month. My parents were cold toward my achievements but endlessly indulgent toward him. 2 years later I met Ryan at a tech conference. He came from a wealthy family, calm, considerate, understanding. We started dating and brought him home. Parents' attitude was indifferent. My brother looked at us with mocking eyes. I still sent money covering his car insurance and clothes. My parents often pressured me to give even more to balance high. For the wedding, Ryan and I set a budget of $20,000 for the venue. My brother demanded expensive attire, vehicles, $3,000 to $5,000. I refused and my mother still supported him, saying he needed confidence. Years of effort ignored, resentment boiled over. On the wedding day the sky was clear. I wore a white lace gown. After a few glasses of wine my brother lunged at me, eyes full of rage. He poured wine over my dress, the red spreading like a wound. The dessert table was overturned, cake and cookies littered the floor. He shouted, "You think you're better than us." My parents comforted him like he was the victim, ignoring me. My husband Ryan stood by me, holding my hand protectively. Guests whispered, unsure what to do. I clenched my fists and gritted my teeth. Years of sacrifices being ignored burned like fire in my chest. I realized I could no longer indulge their selfishness. I discovered the honeymoon funds had been taken by my parents to buy my brother a car. I confronted my parents and brother in front of everyone, exposing their selfishness. Guests whispered, friends and colleagues stared in shock. I calmly declared I would no longer pay for anything or support them. I cancelled the $100,000 honeymoon and focused on future plans. Ryan held my hand quietly, saying, "You did the right thing." My brother and parents began threatening me with texts and calls. I faced them calmly, refused, and did not back down. My mother begged me to help my brother. My father demanded obedience. I replied calmly I had already given enough and would pay nothing more. My brother lost access to funds, couldn't finish school, rent unpaid. Eventually he was expelled and moved back to my parents' small apartment working odd jobs. The calls from my parents stopped silence, letting me feel at ease. Ryan and I planned to buy a house focusing on work and life without interference. I concentrated on my job, earned a promotion and a 20,000 raise, feeling accomplished. Ryan's parents became our supportive family, providing warmth. My brother was powerless, I was no longer controlled by their demands. I deeply understood love in a family doesn't mean limitless sacrifice. I learned to set boundaries, protect myself, and take back control of my life. My story shows happiness shouldn't come at forced sacrifice. I rebuilt my life with Ryan, creating love and independence free from interference. I clearly understood giving and receiving must be balanced for it to last. My brother and parents' selfishness was ultimately punished by reality. I regained freedom, dignity, happiness, and control of my life. I learned to say no, no longer sacrificing myself for others. Ryan and I planned real estate investments to build shared assets. I focused on work, got promoted, and led teams demonstrating my abilities. Every refusal became self-protection and boundary setting. My brother's threats no longer influenced my decisions or emotions. My parents' silence signified their inability to interfere with my new life. I organized files in my office, feeling in control. The light in the room illuminated future plans and visions. Ryan and I planned vacations without worrying about funds. We designed our home together, making life comfortable. Every decision reflected our joint efforts. I learned to balance giving and receiving, maintaining mental health. My brother and parents' complaints were silently answered by reality. I was no longer forced to meet unreasonable demands, focusing on myself. The wedding incident became the starting point to establish my boundaries. I proved through action that effort and intelligence deserve respect. Ryan became my stable support and partner in the new life. I was no longer bound or controlled by old family patterns. Every expense and plan was decided by us. I regained freedom, no longer controlled by outside forces. Life was firmly in our hands, warm and steady. I understood the limits between self-worth, effort, and reward. My brother and parents' imbalance and selfishness were proven by reality. The new life Ryan and I built was full of hope. My happiness no longer depended on others' approval or needs. We learned to value each other's efforts and create a better future together. Every decision was made with wisdom, calm, and confidence. Past grievances were transformed into strength and experience. I understood love and respect require balance and boundaries. My life was firmly in my own hands, clear and stable. Freedom, dignity, and happiness became my core values. I learned from the wedding chaos to never compromise or sacrifice again. The home Ryan and I built symbolized control over our life. We planned every step of the future, taking responsibility for ourselves. My brother and parents could no longer breach the boundaries I established. I learned to firmly say no, protecting my interests and happiness. Life was no longer controlled by others, filled with security and control. My experience became a source of strength, guiding myself and others.